We do reproduce the program of national education, the curriculum, the national curriculum. The thing is that we don't want to be their enemies because they're very powerful. So we rather be their friends. But the problem is that they don't really want to be friends. For one reason is that national education in general doesn't like private sector.
So, Shannon, you're the founder of SchoolMouv. Maybe what you can start, it's like telling us a little bit who you are, what you did, and why did you create SchoolMouv? So, what is SchoolMouv?
Yes, of course. I'm very glad to be here. Thanks for having me. So my name is Shannon. I'm 26 years old. I was born in Portugal. Arrived in France when I was 3 years old. Raised in Aveyron, so south of France. I built SchoolMouv. I had the idea when I was going through high school. When I was going through the famous baccalaureate, which is the national exam. I didn't have the means to buy private tutoring because it's quite expensive. It's about 40 euros an hour. So like most of my friends, I bought the famous Anabac, which is quite expensive, but it allows you to study.
It's a book, no?
Yeah, exactly. So it's classic, a nice old book. And then I went online and I thought to myself, probably there's a website where I should find everything online. And I was quite shocked. I didn't find anything, no text lessons, no videos, and that's where I had the idea of SchoolMouv. So just to make it simple, SchoolMouv is the idea behind it, is to build the first online tutoring platform for kids from 11 to 18 years old that allows them to get access to all their lessons in all the subjects like history, geography, math, physics, everything, through videos, text lessons, exercises and quizzes.
And how long have you been working for SchoolMouv?
Wow, it's been
when did you start?
Yeah, it's been a while now. So my baccalaureate was in 2011. Then I went to business school. And that's where I started it. So it was about 2013. Okay. So it's been 7 years now.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell us about like SchoolMouv today. What's your key figure? How many students do you have every day on the platform? And how like you started in 2011? I'm sure you have like key steps that you made and you want to tell us about it.
Yeah, so it's been a very long road. Today we're quite proud. We have over 2 million students that use SchoolMouv. We have over 100,000 students every month that register to SchoolMouv. New students coming in. On all kinds of degrees from 11 to 18 years old. We have over 10,000 pedagogical content, videos, text lessons. We're close to 50 people now in the company, so it's working quite well. And yeah, we do have key achievements. I mean, the road has been quite long because it's a project that takes a lot of time because you have to produce all the content, you have to shoot all the videos, and it's a lot of videos to shoot because we have to cover the entire curriculum for the French Educational National Program. So the key achievements that we have is that today our platform is complete in terms of we cover all the subjects, we cover all the degrees from 11 to 18 years old. I think we do have now a great product which works very well for students, and we have great traction.
Okay, that's really great. And how did you start? Like your start was like going to class and like just filming their lesson. How did you do the videos? How did you just start your product?
Yeah, so the mission was quite big because to produce all the content for all the subjects, it takes a lot of money, and we didn't have any cash when we began, so we didn't shoot all the videos at once. So we really had to go step by step, and it was very long because at each step we had to convince like more investors to give us more money so we can produce more content. So when we actually started, I didn't have any money. I only had a bank loan, and what we did is, so I was in the incubator of my business school, and this teacher, he gave us his office to shoot the videos. Great. Yeah. At first, he just gave us the office to shoot one video, but we stayed 2 years in his office. He actually never recovered his office for 2 years because then we shot all the videos in his office. And what we did, because we had no money, is first of all, everybody was very badly paid, but still we paid the teachers. So we hired like French, teachers from the French curriculum. So they are actual teachers in national education. And the first videos were horrible. they were horrible. The first video we did was the teacher in front of the camera, and he would just say the lesson. But it was horrible because the lesson was like exactly when you went to class. It was 1 hour, 2 hours long. It wasn't dynamic. So we said to ourselves, we have to change the whole format. We have to take actors, because actors are more dynamic in front of a camera. They're used to a camera, they're used to a prompter. So then the teachers would actually write the lessons, and then the actors would play the teacher, and the videos were like 15 minutes, and then we cut the videos so that they're more dynamic, and then we launched the first videos on YouTube, because we didn't have any money to build a platform, and it was like an MVP. We would, for free, the videos would be for free on YouTube, just to see if the students were interested.
And how many students, like your first week, did watch
your
videos? How did you get the first students to go on YouTube and know that SchoolMouv was existing?
So the first video we actually released on YouTube wasn't very sexy. It was about geography for première ES. The name was L'approche des territoires de proximité. So it was a very complicated video. It wasn't like a mainstream lesson. But still, the students, they found us on YouTube, and after a few weeks we had over, I think, 30,000 views on the video. Yeah, so it was like, okay, students are looking for videos on YouTube, so this project might work.
Okay, and what's interesting is like when you watch at your market, you are talking to kids, to people that want to learn, but they are not the ones that are paying. So you have two users. You have like the person that is watching and that is using your content, and you have the person that is paying, that is the parent. How do you manage to crack the market with these two kind of targets?
Yeah, so I have to admit it's very difficult. And still, I don't think we have completely cracked the market. What we did well is the product in terms of we didn't aim the parents at all at first. Our main objective was to build the best content for kids. So everything was around kids. The videos were for kids, the platform was for kids, the marketing was for kids. And then the kids, if they like the product, then they would naturally go to the parents and ask the parents to get a subscription. And now, only now, this year, we're actually starting to target the parents directly.
How do you do to target the parents directly?
Facebook.
You don't go on YouTube.
No,
you go on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Now students are not on Facebook, so our marketing towards students is definitely not on Facebook. It would be more like on Snapchat or TikTok, but for parents, definitely Facebook.
Okay, maybe we're gonna talk after about the parents, but first, the teenagers. How did you build your brand? Because you have a strong brand today. Maybe every teenagers, but a lot of teenagers know you. How did you build this B2C brand, actually? Yeah,
so we're quite proud of the brand for students. I think most parents, they don't even know about SchoolMouv, which is the problem we have today. But kids, they do. Like, I think 1 out of 2 students in high school is using SchoolMouv, and 1 out of 4 in college is using SchoolMouv. So the brand is quite powerful for students, and the way we actually scaled the brand for students was in different ways. The first strategy, which was publishing videos on YouTube, is a good strategy to reach kids. The second one was we did a lot of influence marketing. So we did a lot of videos with influencers like McFly et Carlito, Thibaut InShape, which are famous YouTubers for kids that would talk about our brand. And then we would directly went to the platforms that the students are using. So Snapchat, ads on Snapchat, and then a lot of recommendation. A lot of kids today, like I think 50 to 60% of our traffic today comes from recommendation, because a student would just learn about the platform, start using it, and then spread the word in his class.
And are you replacing private tuition or no?
Actually, we're not replacing it. At first, we thought that our tool would replace private education, tutoring. But what we see today is that a lot of parents are still more comfortable with private tutoring, so they would take private tutoring still and SchoolMouv on top of private tutoring. SchoolMouv didn't replace private tutoring. What it did is it allowed for families that couldn't access private tutoring to have an alternative.
Okay, and that's your mission, to be the alternative. And what about, like, how do you convince the parents? You're telling us, like, you just told us that you began to do it, and how did you do it?
So what we're doing is that we're still testing with parents, so it's quite new. So our marketing team is still trying to figure out which are the best messages for parents. So we're definitely testing different messages for parents, but what we see is quite powerful is trying to tell the parents that we are a tool for them as well, to help their kids during their homework. Today, a lot of parents, they want to help their kids, but they don't have the tool, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the skills. So SchoolMouv is also a tool for them to help their kids.
Okay, and it's working a little bit.
At least we're trying this message and it's working quite well.
Okay, and what about the teachers?
So the teachers, the tool wasn't built for teachers initially, but they can still register on the website, and we found that they've been using the website in a way that we haven't imagined. We have over 3,000 teachers joining the platform every month, and what they actually do with the platform is that they use the content, our content, that has been built by over 200 teachers, so that they can save time. They would directly use our exercises, they will directly broadcast our videos in class, they would take our text lessons and give them directly to the students. So the teachers have actually been using the tool to save time so that they can have more time in class with their students.
Wow, so like you're shaping a new way of teaching.
Yeah, in a way that we didn't expect.
Yeah, I love that. Like what we can see here is like content is everywhere. Content is like on your platform. So a teacher is not here anymore just to teach you the content, but to make it like much more dynamic, to be an experience. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and like the teacher, are you talking to them on a daily basis? Do they call you? Do they ask for new things? Who are the ones that making your product progress? It's the kids asking you a lot of things, it's the parents, it's the teachers, and how do you arbitrate? Who is your like user?
Yeah, so for us it's the kids. It's always been the kids. The platform and the products has always been built for them. So we always do user interviews. We have a lot of reviews on the stores, app stores, Twitter. Every day they tweet about the product. So we would always be listening to the kids first.
Okay, and like 1 year ago, I think it was a year ago, you raised money. You raised 2.5 million euros. And congratulations for that.
Thanks.
And what it was for? What are the key challenges you want like to tackle thanks to this money?
Yeah, so what we did is we raised some money because we had different challenges. First in the product, we thought that we really needed to accelerate on different topics. First was the mobile experience, because SchoolMouv was only on desktop, but kids, they always use the apps and the phone. So we've built an app last year which was quite successful, as it's been downloaded 500,000 times in just 1 year, so we were quite glad. And in less than a year, more than half of our traffic now is on mobile.
Well,
so the shift was huge. So that's what we've been building, and also we've been building on, we've been trying to have better content for kids. So we've been working on interactive exercises, because all our content is what we call passive education. So the kids would log in and they would watch a video, they would read a text lesson. We wanted them to get involved in the product, so we've been building interactive exercises so that they can actually play with the tool, and that the exercises can adapt to the level of the kid. So that's what we've been doing on the product side, and then we've been accelerating on marketing. We really want to become the first platform in France for kids, and then maybe we'll be experimenting a new country next year. So that's why we raised the capital.
That's your end game, to become like the first platform to help every kids to success in class?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good end game. Okay, that's great. And like maybe I'll ask a few more questions, and then maybe you can think about question you will love to ask to Shannon. What would be like, it's been a long journey for you,
Yep.
and it's a hard market actually, the kids market, the education market. It's an old market, very old one. So if you could maybe sum up the key lessons you like realize by building this company, what would be these key lessons?
So the key lessons we've learned during those past years, it is a very difficult market for different reasons. The first one is that first you have to produce a lot of content, and producing content takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of cash. So it's very time consuming and very cash consuming. But on the other side, it's harder for a competitor to arrive, because we've been building, and our competitors as well, we've been building content for years now, and we've been investing for years. So for someone to arrive on the market, it would make it even more complicated for them. So that's one of the key lessons I think for K-12, is that it takes a lot of time and money. The other thing which is complicated is what we've been talking about. The end user is not the one paying. So it makes it more complicated for a business model when you have to build a product for someone, but he's not actually the one that's paying. Makes it more complicated in terms of conversion. So we had to tackle a lot of challenges to understand how we could actually push the kid to ask his parents, or to convince the parents to pay on the platform. And then maybe one of the other lessons I think that we've managed to have is that a lot of, I think, of our competitors are aiming for the parents, but the tool is for the kids, and we've always been aiming the kids first, and I think this is what actually worked for us.
Yeah, it's because you're talking to your user and the one who's using you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. And talking about the content we could think it's everywhere, but for K-12 it's much more maybe a state subject, and it's much more in the books.
Yeah.
And how often do you have to update it?
Yeah, so that's another, I forgot this one. But this is another problem with the K-12, is that there's a lot of reform. Each time there's a new minister that will arrive, he will decide to adapt the program. So we would have to produce the program again. For instance, in high school, they've just changed the entire curriculum. So we had to reproduce, after 5 years of hard work, we had to reproduce the entire curriculum for seconde, première, terminale in all the subjects. So it's a lot of investment as well, and it's a lot of time.
And what about your old videos? I'm sure you can reuse some things, no? Or
no, no students would actually want to watch videos that are not in the curriculum, because most students, they just want to save time, so they wouldn't use our old videos.
Okay, that's interesting. Do you have some question, guys? We have the...
Okay, this is a mic that you can throw to the next person, okay? It's super soft and doesn't hurt, right? So you need to catch it. You ready?
Hello. So you said earlier that you started out by doing some passive content like lessons and classes. So my question is more on the exercises, and I heard that some people are looking into adaptive learning. Maybe it's a bit gimmicky, but using like machine learning or artificial intelligence to adapt the levels of exercises and optimize the learning of the students. Have you engaged in that direction in some ways, or have you thought about that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we haven't engaged in real machine learning. What we do is we always, because we think it's very complicated, but it's very interesting in terms of product. So what we do is, for now, the interactive exercises we have, we just have like a very simple algorithm that if the student's wrong, then we will simplify the question. So we will have a base of questions, and we will just choose the question according to his answer. Machine learning would be the step further. We haven't engaged with that yet, because I think it's a lot of investment in terms of product, and I'm not sure yet that the students would be ready to pay for this advantage. So it's a process that we have begun. with a very simple algorithm. We hope we can go into machine learning and invest really in machine learning, but I think it's maybe a bit too early for us, for the business model, and also for the market.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Annabelle, Shannon, and Vladimir for sharing with us. It's a pleasure. My question is, on the long run, how will you manage to combine your system with a public traditional French school? Because if it becomes your enemy, then you're maybe in dire straits. So it's better to combine them, I think. So I don't know. It's my question.
Okay, so your question is about national education.
How
Are you
will you?
enemies or are you
Okay.
complementaries?
So neither enemy, neither friend. The thing is that we are what we called parascolaire, after school. So we would be considered as tutoring, so it's after school, but we do reproduce the program of national education, the curriculum, the national curriculum. The thing is that we don't want to be their enemies because they're very powerful. So we rather be their friends, but the problem is that they don't really want to be friends. For one reason is that national education in general doesn't like private sector, and especially in France. It's very typical to France because in most countries in Europe or even in the US, the government and national education would invest in companies that would use tools. In France, it's the opposite. They don't want to hear about private sector, which makes it even more complicated to make your tool well known to kids and to teachers. So we're not enemies. We do communicate with national education, go to events, things like this, but we do know that we cannot count on them to pay for the tool, to have a budget for the tool, or to recommend the tool to teachers.
Thank you.
Hi. First of all, congratulations. I think you are doing something really impressive. My question is more about the users. What kind of children are interested in SchoolMouv, and how do they interact with it? Like, do they spend a lot of time on it, or is that only a tiny fraction of students that are like top of class, or is it everybody?
It's actually everybody. We're quite surprised with the kinds of users that are using SchoolMouv. It's not only for kids that have problems in school. It's not only for good students that like studying. What we actually see is that we have all kinds of students. We have very good students that actually come to SchoolMouv because they want to go further in the curriculum. So they will find content that's adapted to them. We also find students that have a lot of trouble in school. We have a lot of handicapped students as well. Dyslexic, dyspraxic will use our tool because they have no other option. And then we would just have all the lazy students. They want good grades very quickly, so they will watch a 15-minute video and then they won't even study on the side, and they will just use SchoolMouv to have a good grade next day.
Hello, thank you for sharing your experience. It's very interesting. I have actually two questions.
Okay.
First, what's the price of a SchoolMouv subscription? And second, what percentage of parents are paying actually for SchoolMouv?
So one, I am not allowed to communicate, which is the percentage. The other question about the price is, so our price goes from 16 euros a month to 30 euros a month, according to the length of the subscription. So if you would only subscribe for 1 month, it would be 30 euros a month. Which is less than 1 hour of tutoring, which is around 40 euros. But if you would subscribe for the entire school year, it would be 200 euros for the entire year.
Okay, thank you.
You mentioned that you might be looking to expand to a different geography or different system next year. What sort of, how do you think about that, and what type of markets would you look at next? So
we might experiment to see if there's another market that would be captive to what we're doing. Let's say the challenge is that we would have to rebuild the entire content. So that's why we've also been investing a lot in technology and interactive exercises on mobile, because you see the product would be the same. for any country, if for any given country, but the content would have to be changed. So that's why we're trying to have a very effective tool, and either to publish content, which makes it very easy to publish content, or a very powerful tool in terms of retention for on the mobile and on desktop. But the content we would have to reproduce. So what we have to look at in a new country, first of all, is the curriculum the same for all children? For instance, I am not sure that it would be interesting to go to the US because each state has its own curriculum, so we would have to build content for each state, which would be very expensive. I'm not sure Germany would be interesting as well, because I think in each lander it's the same. Each school even can build their own curriculum, I think. I haven't been looking deep enough. So we would have to see different things. First, is the curriculum the same for the entire country? England, for instance, and is the market deep enough? Are there enough students? We need at least 5 to 6 million students on the market for it to be interesting, at least the same size as in France.
Have you ever done partnerships with schools in France, like private school that know that it can be an advantage for their kids and students just to have like SchoolMouv after school, or?
We've been looking into that, so we've been reaching out to private schools recently for 6 months. It's very complicated actually, because they don't have a huge budget, even though the school is private and they make students pay for it. They don't have a huge budget, so most of the time they're very interested in the tool. The problem is that they have to ask the entire teachers. All the teachers have to agree on using the tool because it's pedagogical content, so it makes it very long in terms of process, because all the teachers have to test the tool to see if they agree with the content that's on the tool, and then they would have to vote the budget. So it's quite complicated.
Yeah, it's complicated. Maybe one more question? One here and one here.
Thank you very much. That was really interesting. My question was about the teacher. It looks like you have a quite big growth in terms of users, like the teachers are using your platform, obviously. So I was wondering, did you think about a functionality where the teacher could see all of his or her students, and there would be kind of a dashboard? I think that it could make sense to use the teachers as a way to get the other half of students that you don't have currently.
Yeah, it's a very good idea. Thanks for sharing. We've been looking into teachers recently because first we were really focused on the students, building the platform, building the content, having growth on students. Now we're looking towards the teachers. The problem would be the business model. We cannot ask teachers to pay, so we would have to give the content for free for teachers. So we would be using teachers for marketing, so they would be recommending the tool. We are not sure yet on how much they would recommend the tool. So we will be testing, I think, this year a functionality where they can create their class, and invite kids, and then we will see if they use it, if they really use it or not. But I think it's a good option to try to grow on the kids.
And if I may, can I have another question?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Did you try to reach big actors of this tutoring game, like Academia or others? Would they be interested in your content, or you think they are pure enemies, like traditional tutoring?
No, we're actually building partnerships today with big actors in education. They're not enemies because they have their own online platform as well. It's just that today they are working with some competitors, so we are trying to reach them.
One last here, and then we'll have to switch, guys.
Well done.
Hi. I actually just had a question that maybe you've already tackled, small part of the conference. What's your added value or your differentiation regarding some of your competitors, such as Cartable?
Yeah. So Cartable is our main competitor today. Our added value, I think, would be on video. We are the only ones today to produce all the curriculum through videos. They only have text lessons. I also think, but I'm not very objective, I also think that our text lessons and the other content that we do have is more complete in terms of length, in terms of images, because we have a big production team inside the company. And we have also a very big graphic team that I don't think they have. So our content is, I think, more rich in terms of images, in terms of paragraphs, in terms of length. And we also have the video, which we are the only ones to produce today.
Thank you very much, Shannon. So I think that every one of us, if we have siblings that are still in college or high school, if you are parents and you have kids that are in college and high school,
Yes.
go and pay for them.
Yeah, get a
For
subscription.
them to get a subscription and like to be the best in class for them, just to enjoy the rest of the life, because school is not everything. Thanks a lot,
exactly.
Shannon.
Great, thank you very much.
Que la famille.